The office door slammed so hard that my coffee mug rattled on the desk. Manuel stood there, red-faced and breathing heavy, like he'd just run a marathon. But I knew that look. It wasn't from running. It was pure rage. "We need to talk," he said, not bothering with hello. I looked up from my computer screen, where I'd been reviewing quarterly reports. My construction business had been doing better than ever, and I was finally seeing the fruits of 10 years of grinding work. "What's up, Manuel?" He walked right up to my desk and slammed his palm down. "I want half." "Half of what?" "Don't play dumb with me. Half of this business. Half of everything you've built here." His voice was getting louder with each word. "We're family, Alex. Family shares everything." I stared at him, wondering if this was some kind of joke. "Manuel, you can't be serious." "Dead serious." He crossed his arms and gave me that smirk I remember from childhood, the same one he wore when he thought he'd already won. "I've got ways to make it happen, if you won't do it willingly." My mind raced back through the years. While Manuel had been partying through college, I was working construction jobs during the day and studying business at night. While he was traveling Europe on our parents' money, I was saving every penny to start my company. I remembered the sleepless nights in my tiny apartment, eating ramen noodles for the third time that week, the blisters on my hands from manual labor, the rejection letters from banks who wouldn't give me a loan, the first client who trusted me with their bathroom renovation. Manuel had never shown interest in construction. He called it dirty work and said I was wasting my college degree. When I told him about starting the business, he laughed and said I'd be broke within a year. Now here he was, 5 years later, demanding half of something worth over $2 million. "You're out of your mind," I said. "I built this from nothing. And I'm your brother. That means something." He leaned forward. "Besides, I already talked to Mom about this." My stomach dropped. "What did you tell her?" His smirk got wider. "That you've been selfish, keeping all the success to yourself while your family struggles." He paused for effect. "She agrees with me." Sunday dinner at Mom's house felt like walking into an ambush. Patricia sat at the head of the table, her face serious. Manuel sat across from me, looking smug and confident. "Alex, honey," Mom started, passing the mashed potatoes. Manuel told me about his idea. His idea? I couldn't keep the bitterness out of my voice. About the business. About sharing. She looked at me with disappointed eyes. "I raised you both to look out for each other." "Mom, I've worked my butt off for this company. Manuel has never shown any interest until now." "That's not the point," she said firmly. "The point is family comes first. You've been blessed with success, and now it's time to do the right thing." Manuel nodded along, playing the role of the wrong brother perfectly. "All I'm asking for is what's fair." "Fair?" I nearly choked on my food. "What's fair is earning what you get." Mom's expression hardened. "Alex, I'm disappointed in you. This greed doesn't suit you." The word hit me like a slap. Greed. For protecting what I'd built with my own hands. Manuel leaned back in his chair, victory written all over his face. "If you won't do it voluntarily, I'll have to take legal action." I called Jordan as soon as I got home, my hands still shaking from the dinner confrontation. My best friend since high school had always been my voice of reason. He said, "What?" Jordan's voice was sharp with disbelief. "He wants half the business. Claims it a family obligation." I paced around my living room, unable to sit still, and Mom is backing him up. "That's insane. You bootstrapped that company from zero. He contributed nothing. Try telling my family that." I slumped onto my couch. Maybe I should just give him something. Keep the peace. "Don't you dare." Jordan's tone was fierce. "That's exactly what he's counting on. He knows you're too nice to fight back. He's using your good nature against you. But if I have to fight this, I could lose my whole family. Alex, listen to me. If they're willing to turn on you over money you earned, what kind of family is that? Don't let him win by playing the victim card." Jordan was right. I'd spent my whole life being the responsible one, the peacekeeper. But this time was different. "You know what?" I said, feeling something shift inside me. I'm not just going to fight back. I'm going to outsmart him. I woke up Monday morning to 17 missed calls and 32 text messages. My phone had been buzzing all night, but I turned off the sound after the first few. Most of them were from relatives I barely talked to, friends from high school, even some of my clients. They all asked variations of the same question. Is it true what Manuel posted about you? My stomach sank as I opened Facebook. There was posted at 2 a.m. with a long, emotional rant from Manuel. It breaks my heart to share this, but my brother Alex has completely cut off our family since becoming successful. He refuses to help his own brother and calls our mother greedy for asking him to do the right thing. I never thought money would change someone I loved so much. Please pray for our family during this difficult time. The post already had over 100 likes and dozens of comments. People I'd known for years were calling me selfish, saying they never knew I was that type of person. My phone buzzed with a text from one of my biggest clients. Hey, Alex, saw some concerning things online. We should talk. Manuel had declared war, and he'd fired the first shot at my reputation. I spent the entire morning crafting my response. Every word had to be perfect. I couldn't sound offensive or angry, even though I was furious. I needed to tell my side without sounding petty. I've seen some posts circulate about my family situation, and I feel the need to set the record straight. 5 years ago, I started my construction business with $500 in my bank account and a dream. Through long hours, sacrifice, and dedication, I built something I'm proud of. My brother Manuel recently demanded half ownership of my company, not based on contribution or investment, but simply because we share DNA. When I explained that business doesn't work that way, the situation escalated. I love my family, but I also believe in earned success. I've never asked them for money, and I've helped them whenever they truly needed it. Creating a business isn't about family obligations. It's about vision, work, and responsibility. I stand behind my decision and my values. Within an hour, the comments started pouring in. Former colleagues, clients, and friends shared their own stories of building businesses from scratch. The tide was turning. Then my phone buzzed with a text from Manuel. You'll regret this. I promise you that. The certified letter arrived on a Wednesday morning, hand-delivered by a courier who looked apologetic. My hands trembled as I tore open the envelope, even though I knew what it would contain. Demand for ownership share was printed in bold letters across the top of the letterhead from Henderson & Associates law firm. The letter claimed that Manuel had provided essential support and consultation during the formation of my business and was therefore entitled to 50% ownership. It demanded immediate transfer of assets, or they would file a lawsuit within 30 days. I read through the legal language twice, my anger growing with each fabricated claim. Essential support? The only thing Manuel had ever supported was his own lifestyle. But as I read the letter a third time, something made me smile, a memory from those early days that Manuel had clearly forgotten about. I walked to my filing cabinet and pulled out a folder labeled Business Formation, Year 1. Inside were all the original documents, contracts, and correspondence from when I started the company. And there, near the bottom of the stack, was exactly what I was looking for. A simple one-page document that Manuel had signed and notarized 5 years ago. My secret weapon. The memory came flooding back as I held the yellowed paper. It was month 3 of my business, and I was drowning in paperwork and physical work. Manuel had come by the office, bored and looking for something to do. Let me help, he'd said. I need something for my resume anyway. For exactly 1 week, Manuel had answered phones and filed papers. He complained the entire time about the boring work and quit the moment he got a call about a party. But before he'd started, my accountant had insisted on a liability waiver. Anyone who works with a company, even family, needs to sign this, she'd said. It protects you if something goes wrong. The document was simple and clear. Manuel Thompson hereby waives any and all claims of ownership, profit sharing, or compensation beyond agreed hourly wages for work performed at Thompson Construction, LLC. Manuel had signed it without reading, joking about how formal I was being with family. Now that signature was going to save my company. I made 3 copies of the document and scheduled a meeting with my lawyer for the next morning. Manuel had no idea what was coming for him. The courthouse was packed, but I felt calm as I sat next to my attorney. Manuel sat across the aisle with his lawyer, whispering and pointing at papers. He kept glancing over at me with that same smug expression. "Your Honor," his attorney began, "my client seeks rightful recognition of his contribution to the formation and early success of Thompson Construction. As Mr. Alex Thompson's brother, Manuel provided crucial support during the startup phase and deserves equitable compensation." Manuel nodded along, playing the part of the supportive brother who'd been wronged. He even managed to look sad when his lawyer talked about family bonds being broken by greed. The judge listened patiently, making notes. When Manuel's lawyer finished, she turned to my attorney. "Your Honor, this case is quite simple," my lawyer said, standing up. "Mr. Manuel Thompson did indeed work for the company briefly during its first year. However, he formally waived all rights of ownership or compensation beyond hourly wages." My lawyer held up the signed document. This waiver was signed voluntarily and notarized properly. I watched Manuel's face go white as the judge examined the paper. His lawyer frantically whispered to him, clearly hearing about this for the first time. The judge looked up. "Mr. Manuel Thompson, is this your signature?" Manuel squinted at the document, his confident expression cracking. I don't remember signing that." "But is it your signature?" the judge repeated. "It looks like it, but—" "Your Honor," the judge said firmly, "this document is clear and legally binding. Mr. Manuel Thompson waived any claims of ownership when he briefly worked for the company. This case is dismissed." The gavel came down with a satisfying crack. I felt my shoulders relax for the first time in weeks. But as we gathered our papers, Manuel leaned over and whispered in my ear, "You think you're so smart, but I don't need the law to ruin you." His voice was cold and threatening. Gone was the act of the hurt brother seeking fairness. This was something darker. "Courts can't protect you from everything," he continued. "And family knows all your weak spots." I met his eyes, refusing to show fear. "Is that a threat?" He smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "It's a promise. You want to play hardball? Game on." As he walked away, I realized this battle was far from over. Legal victory was just round 1. The problem started small. A delay in material delivery that set us back 3 days on a major project. Then one of my best workers called in sick for a week straight. My main supplier suddenly claimed computer issues when I tried to place orders. At first, I chalked it up to bad luck. But by the 3rd week, I knew something was wrong. The final straw came on a Thursday morning. I arrived at my biggest job site to find my equipment vandalized. Power tools were missing. Someone had poured sand into the gas tanks of 2 trucks. When did this happen? I asked my foreman, Jake, sometime after we left yesterday. Security cameras were spray painted over. He looked frustrated. "This is going to cost us thousands and push us back at least a week." 3 of my clients had already called about delays. Word was spreading that Thompson Construction was having reliability issues. My reputation, built over 5 years of perfect project completion, was crumbling. That night, I installed additional security cameras around the job sites and office. Hidden ones that couldn't be easily spotted or disabled. If someone was sabotaging my business, I was going to catch them in the act. The footage was crystal clear. At 2:47 a.m., a figure in dark clothing climbed over the fence at my main job site. They moved confidently, like they knew exactly where everything was located. I watched as they systematically damaged equipment, stole tools, and poured something into the fuel tanks. When they turned toward one of my hidden cameras, I saw the face clearly. Manuel, my own brother, was destroying the business I'd spent years building. The betrayal hit me harder than I'd expected. This wasn't just about money anymore. This was personal. I made copies of the footage and called the police. Detective Williams arrived within an hour, professional and thorough. "This is clear evidence of vandalism and theft," she said after reviewing the video. "We can arrest him today if you want to press charges." I stare at the frozen image of Manuel on my computer screen. Yes, do it. But as Detective Williams prepared the paperwork, my phone rang. Mom's name appeared on the screen. Alex, honey, please don't do this to your brother. Whatever happened, we can work out as a family. Word traveled fast in small towns. Someone had already told her about the police. Mom stood in my office 30 minutes later, tears streaming down her face. Please don't ruin his life over this. He's ruining my business. Mom, look at this footage. I replayed the video, watching her face crumble as she saw Manuel clearly vandalizing my equipment. I know it looks bad, but he's your brother. Prison will destroy him. Detective Williams waited patiently by the door, paperwork in hand. All I had to do was sign, and Manuel would be arrested within the hour. He made his choice when he decided to sabotage me. I said, actions have consequences. What if he apologizes? What if he pays for the damage? Mom's voice was desperate. Give him one more chance. I looked at my mother's tear-stained face, remembering every family dinner, every birthday, every holiday we'd shared. Despite everything, the thought of sending Manuel to jail made my stomach turn. One chance, I said finally. But if he comes near my business again, if he contacts my clients, if he so much as looks at me wrong, I press charges immediately. Detective Williams frowned. Are you sure about this? I wasn't, but I signed the papers holding the charges instead of filing them. 24 hours. If he doesn't make this right, arrest him. Manuel showed up at my office the next morning with flowers and coffee, looking like a repentant little brother. Gone was the threatening tone from the courthouse. He was back to playing the victim. Alex, I'm so sorry. I was hurt and angry and I did something stupid. He set the coffee on my desk like a peace offering. I want to make this right between us. I studied his face, looking for any sign of genuine remorse. All I saw was calculation. You cost me over $15,000 in damage and lost work. I'll pay every penny back, whatever it takes. He sat down across from me, hands clasped like he was praying. I miss having my brother in my life. And the public Facebook posts, the lies about me. I'll post an apology today. I'll tell everyone I was wrong. His voice sounded sincere, but his eyes remained cold. I just want my family back. Against my better judgment, I felt myself softening. This was a Manuel I remember from childhood, before money and jealousy poisoned everything. I want to trust you again, I said. But trust has to be rebuilt. Anything, just tell me how. I made a decision that I'd later regret. Help me rebuild what you destroyed. Show me you're serious about changing. I want to help with the business side, too. Manuel said after his third day of cleanup work. Show you I understand what you built here. He'd been model behavior for a week, arriving early, working hard, even bringing lunch for the crew. Part of me wanted to believe he genuinely changed. I don't know Manuel. Business management is complicated. I have a business degree too, remember? I could help with accounts, customer relations, administrative stuff. He leaned forward eagerly. Let me prove I'm serious about being a real partner. The word partner should have been a red flag, but I was exhausted from handling everything alone. Having family involved felt appealing after years of working solo. I could set up a separate account for you to practice with. I said slowly. Small stuff. Office supplies, minor expenses. That would be perfect. Just enough to show you I can handle responsibility. That afternoon, I created a new account with the company bank and transferred $5,000 into it. I gave Manuel access and a company credit card with a low limit. This is for legitimate business expenses only. Keep every receipt. Of course. Thank you for trusting me. He pocketed the card with a smile that should have warned me. The bank alert came through at 3:17 a.m. on a Tuesday. Someone had attempted to transfer the entire balance from Manuel's account to an external account I didn't recognize. I sat up in bed, staring at my phone screen. The transfer had been blocked because it exceeded the daily limit, but 3 smaller transfers had gone through earlier in the day. $2,500. Gone. I checked the account history and found a pattern of suspicious activity. cash withdrawals at ATMs across town, charges at restaurants, bars, and stores that had nothing to do with business. Manuel had been stealing from me for 2 weeks. I screenshot everything, building a digital paper trail of his theft. Every transaction, every attempt, every lie he'd told while looking me in the eye. By morning, I had enough evidence to send him to prison for years. But this time, I wasn't going to call the police first. I was going to get my revenge in a much more satisfying way. Sunday dinner at Mom's house. The whole family gathered around the table, just like old times. Manuel sat across from me, chatting about his new responsibility at my company. Alex is really giving me a chance to prove myself, he told our cousins. I think we're going to make great business partners. I smiled and nodded, playing along. Manuel has been very helpful lately. Under the table, my phone was connected to Mom's TV through a streaming device I'd set up earlier. Everything was ready. Actually, I said, standing up with my wine glass, I have something to share with everyone. Manuel's work ethic has really impressed me lately. The family turned to look at me expectantly. Manuel beamed with pride. In fact, let me show you all exactly what kind of work he's been doing. I pressed a button on my phone. The TV screen lit up with screenshots of the bank account, every fraudulent transaction, every ATM withdrawal, every lie documented in crystal clear detail. The table fell silent. Mom's hand flew to her mouth. Manuel went white as a sheet. $2,500, I said calmly. Stolen from a test account I created to see if I could trust him. Manuel jumped up, knocking over his chair. You set me up. I gave you a chance to prove yourself. You proved exactly what I expected. 3 weeks passed in eerie silence. No angry phone calls from Manuel. No tearful visits from Mom. No dramatic confrontations. I almost convinced myself it was over, that maybe Manuel had finally learned his lesson and moved on with his life. Then Jake, my foreman, brought me a flyer he'd found stapled to a telephone pole near one of our job sites. Thompson Construction Alternative, it read in bold letters. Same quality work, honest pricing, family-owned and operated. The phone number belonged to Manuel. I drove across town to the address listed on the flyer. Sure enough, there was a small office with a sign reading, MT Construction, Manuel Thompson, owner. Through the window, I could see Manuel sitting at a desk, talking on the phone. On the wall behind him were photos of projects I recognized, jobs my company had completed. He was using my work to advertise his new business. The betrayal was complete. He couldn't steal my company, so he'd started his own to compete with me. But the worst part was yet to come. Over the next week, 3 of my long-term clients called to cancel their contracts. All of them mentioned getting a better offer from MT Construction. Manuel wasn't just competing with me. He was actively sabotaging my client base. The call came on a Friday afternoon. Mrs. Henderson, one of my most loyal clients, sounded upset on the phone. Alex, I need to ask you about something, and I want you to be honest with me. Of course. What's going on? Your brother Manuel called me yesterday. He said there are some financial problems with your company and that I should consider switching to his business for my kitchen renovation. My blood pressure spiked. Mrs. Henderson, there are no financial problems. My company is completely stable. That's what I thought. But then he said some other things. She paused. He claimed you've been overcharging clients and cutting corners on materials. He said he could do the same work for 30% less. None of that is true. You've worked with me before. Have I ever overcharged you or used cheap materials? Never. That's why this seems so strange. Her voice softened. Alex, I think your brother might be lying to steal your customers. After I hung up, I realized Manuel's strategy was more dangerous than I'd thought. He wasn't just competing for new business. He was spreading lies about my company's integrity and financial stability. In construction, reputation was everything. Once people started doubting your reliability, word spread fast in a small community. I needed to stop this before he destroyed everything I'd built. Mr. Peterson from Peterson Manufacturing called me the next Monday morning. His voice was angry and frustrated. Alex, I need to tell you about a conversation I had with your brother. What did Manuel say now? He didn't just try to steal my contract. He scammed me out of $5,000. Mr. Peterson's voice got louder. He claimed to be representing your company and took a deposit for materials that never arrived. I sat down heavily in my chair. Mr. Peterson, Manuel doesn't work for my company. He never has. I know that now, but he had business cards with Thompson Construction on them. He knew details about the project that only someone from your team should know. I'm so sorry this happened. I'll make sure you get your money back. Don't worry about that. I called the police and reported it as fraud. But Alex, there's something else you should know. He paused. I've talked to 3 other business owners in town. Your brother has scammed all of us using your company's name. My heart sank. This wasn't just about competition anymore. Manuel was committing fraud using my business as cover. They're all willing to testify against him. Mr. Peterson continued. We're tired of being victims. Thank you for telling me. And thank you for understanding this isn't my company's fault. We know you, Alex. We know your character. That's why we trusted him in the first place. I spent the next week collecting statements from everyone Manuel had scammed. The list was longer than I'd imagined. Mrs. Chun from the grocery store, $800 for a bathroom renovation that never happened. The Johnson family, $1,200 for roofing repairs Manuel never started. Downtown diner, $500 deposit for kitchen upgrades that never materialized. Each victim told the same story. Manuel had approached them claiming to work for Thompson Construction. He'd shown fake business cards and quoted jobs using my company's reputation. Then he'd taken deposits and disappeared. In total, he'd stolen over $12,000 from people who trusted my family name. But the evidence wasn't just about theft. I also gathered documentation of his lies to clients, his attempt to sabotage my active projects, and his systematic campaign to destroy my reputation. My attorney reviewed everything and nodded grimly. This is enough for criminal fraud charges, identity theft, and business interference. He's looking at serious prison time. What about the impact on my business? You have ground for a civil lawsuit too. Lost income, reputation damage, emotional distress. You could bankrupt him. I stared at the pile of evidence on my desk. Manuel had made one crucial mistake. He'd assumed I would stay quiet to protect family peace. He was about to learn how wrong he was. I chose Facebook for maximum impact. The same platform Manuel had used to attack my reputation would be the stage for his downfall. The post took me hours to write. Every word had to be perfect, every fact verified, every screenshot crystal clear. Fraud alert. Protecting our community. Over the past month, someone has been scamming local businesses using Thompson Construction's name and reputation. This person is Manuel Thompson, who happens to be my brother. Manuel has stolen over $12,000 from community members by pretending to work for my company. He's taken deposits for work he never intended to complete and used forged business cards to trick honest people. I'm sharing this publicly because our community deserves to know the truth. Below are screenshots of evidence, statements from victims, and documentation of his fraudulent activities. I attached bank records, victim statements, photos of fake business cards, and recordings of threatening voicemails Manuel had left me. The post went viral within hours. Shared hundreds of times, commented on by neighbor clients, and people who've been approached by Manuel. The local newspaper picked it up. The police department shared it as a public service announcement. By evening, Manuel was arrested at his apartment. The charges: fraud, identity theft, and criminal impersonation. Mom called me 3 days after Manuel's arrest. Her voice was quiet and shaky, completely different from her previous angry calls. Alex, I owe you an apology. I set down my coffee and listened. I saw the evidence you posted. I talked to some of the people he scammed. She started crying. I can't believe he used your good name to hurt innocent people. Mom, I tried to warn you. I know. I was so focused on protecting Manuel that I couldn't see what he was really doing. I thought you were being greedy and selfish. Her voice broke. But you were protecting yourself from someone who was trying to destroy you. The words I'd waited months to hear. but they didn't bring the satisfaction I'd expected. I should have listened to you, she continued. I should have trusted the son who worked hard and built something honest instead of the one who chose shortcuts and lies. I never wanted it to come to this, Mom. I know, honey, and I'm sorry it took this long for me to see the truth. Can you forgive a foolish mother who let family loyalty blind her to right and wrong? I thought about all the Sunday dinners, all the holidays, all the years of family memories. Of course, Mom, but things have to be different going forward. Setting boundaries with family was harder than fighting them had been, but it was necessary. I'll forgive you, Mom, but I won't forget what happened here, I said during our first real conversation since the arrest. And I'll never let Manuel near my business or my life again. I understand. You have every right to protect yourself. This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about self-respect. I won't be treated like a family ATM or have my success held against me. You shouldn't have to. What you've built is impressive, and you earned every bit of it. If Manuel ever gets out of prison and wants family contact, that's between you and him. But he's not welcome in my life. I think that's wise, Alex. And no more guilt trips about family obligations. No more pressure to support people who haven't earned it. I'll help family when they deserve it, not when they demand it. Mom nodded sadly. I raised you better than I raised him. I see that now. You raised us both the same. We made different choices. Your father would be proud of the person you became. I'm sorry it took me so long to see it. I hugged her for the first time in months. Forgiveness felt lighter than anger, but stronger boundaries felt better than weak family ties. 2 years later, Thompson Construction is thriving beyond anything I imagined when I started. The controversy actually helped my reputation. People saw how I handled a family crisis with integrity and professionalism. New clients often mention the story. They say it proved I could handle difficult situations with honesty and strength. The same qualities they want in a contractor. Manuel served 18 months in county jail and still has 3 years of probation. He's working at a warehouse now, far from construction and business. We haven't spoken since his arrest, and I intend to keep it that way. Mom and I have rebuilt our relationship on healthier terms. She visits my office sometimes, proud of what I've accomplished. She never asked me to help Manuel or suggests family reunions. Last month, a young entrepreneur asked me for advice about a business partner who was making unreasonable demands. I told her what I learned the hard way. Family doesn't mean free access to your success. But they're my cousin, she said. Doesn't family mean anything? I thought about Manuel, about the court battles, about the sleepless nights and damaged relationships. Family means respect, loyalty, and support, I said. But it doesn't mean freeloading off someone else's hard work. Real family celebrates your success, not tries to steal it. She nodded, understanding in her eyes. He thought family was a free pass to my success. I showed him that family doesn't mean entitlement. It means earning respect through your actions, not demanding it through DNA.